Meeting is called to order. Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-6. According to the Open Public Meeting Act, this meeting on December 11, 2024, was published in the Bergen Record and Herald News on January 21, 2024. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the Office of the Municipal Clerk. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Peachy. Here. Committeewoman Ortola.
Here.
Committeewoman Judge Crivello.
Here.
Committeeman Miller.
Here.
Mayor Bassetti.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence. Okay. Any correspondence?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
This was a letter written to Chief Pinto. Yeah. Is this better? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is a letter written to Chief Pinto. Dear Chief Pinto, I am writing to extend my heartfelt thanks for Officer Bledsoe Furr for taking time to be a guest speaker at 2 of my criminal justice classes at Kane University on October 3rd and October 25th. Officer Bledsoe Furr's insight and expertise provided invaluable information that not only educated but also inspired those in attendance. His ability to engage the audience and address their questions with such clarity and compassion made a lasting impact. It is clear that Officer Bledsoe Furr is deeply committed to serving and protecting the community, and his willingness to share his knowledge reflects his dedication and professionalism. On behalf of Kane University Criminal Justice Department, please accept my sincerest gratitude for Officer Bledsoe Furr's contribution to the success of these guest lecture presentations, and thank you for cultivating such a dedicated and exemplary officer. Your leadership clearly fosters a culture of excellence, and this was quite an event with Officer Bledsoe Furr's professionalism at Kane University. Sincerely, Professor Dennis Brogdon, Department of Criminal Justice, College of Business and Public Management, and Kane University.
And Whitney's in the back of the room, so thank you, Whitney.
Anything else? Could I ask for motion to move resolution 024-214 and be pulled to move up to swearing in of the new officer?
So motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to do,
We got to approve it.
got it, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now you're gonna-
Mayor calls for a motion to vote on resolution number 024-214, resolution authorizing conditional offer of employment to Paul Hammersma.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Peachy.
Yes.
Committeewoman Ortola.
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Crivello.
Yes.
Committeeman Miller.
Yes.
And Mayor Bassetti.
Yes.
All right, at this time, I'd like to invite anybody who'd like to join me in the front of the dais and invite Paul Hammersma up to the front of the dais as well. Right up in the front center.
No, he has to.
Music is really loud, so I hope you can hear me. But, so just brief introduction of Paul. Paul was raised in Tenafly, New Jersey by 2 loving parents who are with us tonight, who instilled in him the enduring values of respect, integrity, and accountability as his journey has been deeply influenced by their guidance. These principles formed the foundation of Paul's character from an early age, shaping his actions and decisions. Today, Paul remains committed to these values, letting them guide him in every aspect of his personal and professional life. Growing up in the close-knit community of Tenafly, Paul was fortunate to be surrounded by a supportive environment that nurtured his growth. The Tenafly school system provided an exceptional educational foundation, while his active involvement in athletics instilled valuable traits like discipline and work ethic. Paul is a 2011 graduate of Tenafly High School, where he earned a 3-year varsity letter in football. He continued, where's Mark? Our football person. He continued his athletic career as a student athlete at Rutgers University, where he played for the Scarlet Knights football team. Paul later went on to earn a bachelor's degree in physical education and health. Paul is a dedicated and driven individual with a strong passion for service, fitness, and personal growth. Raised with an appreciation for hard work and perseverance, Paul developed leadership skills early on through sports and previous employment, where he thrived in roles that challenged and inspired him. His journey into law enforcement has been a culmination of years of preparation, determination, and a desire to make a positive impact. In Paul's previous line of work, he consistently worked in roles that involved direct interaction with the public. He believes that serving the community is his true calling. Currently attending the Bergen County Police Academy as an alternate route recruit, and what that means for those of you who don't know, he's basically paying his own way. That's the type of determination that he has. And serving as the class's commanding officer, Paul is committed to honing his skills and knowledge to serve his community effectively. This experience has reinforced Paul's belief in discipline, teamwork, and the importance of leading by example. Health and fitness have always been integral parts of his life. He's an avid gym goer who enjoys sharing his passion with others. Spending time with family and friends and embracing the outdoors, whether it's hiking or playing sports, are vital to maintaining his balance and well-being. As I mentioned earlier, becoming a police officer is not just a career for Paul, it's a calling to serve and protect his community. He is committed to applying the lessons he's learned throughout his life to help others, promote safety, and build trust between the police and the people he serves. Paul looks forward to continuing his growth as an officer, embracing new challenges, and contributing to the Rochelle Park Police Department. As you know, we uphold the highest standards of integrity and service in the endeavor to serve this community. So we welcome you with open arms to our family. And with that, I would like whoever you'd like to come up and have with you.
My mother and my father.
Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Paul Hammersmith,
Solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all duties of a police officer
perform all duties of a police
for
officer
the Township of Rochelle Park,
for the Township of Rochelle Park,
according to the laws of the Township,
according to the laws of the Township,
State of New Jersey,
State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the United States of America,
and the Constitution of the United States of America,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my
so
ability,
help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry.
Guys want to all come up, take a quick pic? Come on up, come on.
Thank you.
And then Jared. Stand up here, we're going to hold the one. I can have the Taylor take this, so you're in the picture as well. No, stay here. Stay with Teresa, come on, stay up. Give me, you know where to go.
Thank you very much.
I might have to come in, Chris. You get everybody.
Look at this crew.
Tall.
What a crew.
Okay. Just so everybody knows.
Okay.
Back in the seat.
Just sign. I'll put the
Love to hear that.
Jared, don't go nowhere. Just so everybody knows, back in the senior center, we have some coffee and dessert. You're all welcome. For a minute. Yeah, yes, he is. All right. I'll come up. Yeah, you want to use the funny corner?
Does everybody hang out? AAA Safety Award?
This is the 2023 Community Traffic Safety Award from AAA. December 3rd, the Police Department accepted the 2023 AAA Community Traffic Safety Gold Award. This award is given to communities that have implemented traffic safety and road improvement programs and projects that have varying degrees of success, from superior to substantial. We also wish to thank our DPW partners for their help in maintaining our speed measuring device batteries, tree and leaf clearing of obstructions at intersections and signs, maintenance of the flashing LED signs, and roadway striping and painting. We are proud to accept this award as we strive every day to make our community a safer place to live and to work. This is for the Township President.
Thank you, thank you. Congratulations.
We haven't done this. I'll tell Chris. He normally handles it. And Mayor, if you can indulge me for 30 seconds?
Yes.
I switched my hat now to Police Chief, and I want to thank this committee for your commitment and, allowing us to replace the retiring sergeant and bringing Paul on board. As you know from doing your interviews, we had 4 highly qualified candidates, and he obviously exceeded or was head and tails above the next member that we could have chosen. And again, I want to say thank you.
Good. Move on to approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussions, Boswell.
James, did you have a hot mic? You may want to bring it. This one you have to speak in. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Jim McGinnis from Boswell, here to give the engineer's report. Okay, regarding Rochelle Avenue, Railroad Avenue, no changes on that. Again, the county is anticipating a spring 2025 construction. On the sanitary sewer pump station project, the TWA approval was received. We are nearing completion of the NJDEP land use permits. We'll be submitting those shortly. I believe the township was awarded a $2 million FEMA grant I saw a few days ago, so that's congratulations on that. So we'll be looking forward to partnering on that project as well. On Howard Avenue, the project work is substantially complete. Our office is meeting with the contractor tomorrow to follow up on the remaining items, the driveway aprons, and upon completion of that, the job can be closed out.
You may want to add that the majority of the pipes have been removed.
That's correct. Well, the pipe has been removed, so all the stockpiles in the pipe. I know that was a key issue last meeting, so that's all been removed from the stockpile sites. On Carlock Field, we received bids on December 5th last week. As I understand, there's a resolution tonight on the agenda to award a contract to Belly Tunnel Contracting. And then once that contract is solidified, we can start ordering the shelter and the misting stations and get that job started up early next year. Harvey Avenue, the project work is substantially complete. Our office is working with the contractor to finalize the punch list work. NJDOT completed their final inspection on November 22nd with no comments, so that means we can start working towards the project closeout and getting the reimbursement from DOT in the township's hands. Chestnut Drive Lincoln Drive and Chestnut Avenue. No change on that. Again, we submitted a grant application for that in October, awaiting for the review by NJDOT. Again, that's a no timetable grant. It's a rolling grant, so we're not going to know when we receive the award, but hopefully that'll be soon. Matthew Field, again, we're awaiting the grant award notification from Bergen County on that. Bird End Avenue, the township received a grant award of $190,000 on that project. The construction cost estimate is $650,000. So we're working with the township administration on deciding how we're going to phase that project out for the future for next year. And then lastly, on Rochelle Avenue, the county 88 curb ramp project, the county's contractor DLS completed all the curb ramps, and the next step will be for the road to be paved based on the county's schedule.
You may just add to that, Mayor? So we've had Dave Brown and his team discovered several issues. We've had two homes, one on West Oldest and one on Crescent, that have been receiving an inordinate amount of water coming up through what ended up being an abandoned storm drain pipe under their property. Dave and I have been working with Mr. Dutch over at Bergen County, finally getting them to bring their vac truck to clean out the line on Rochelle Avenue. And in doing so, it appears as though the abandoned pipe was once plugged off, that plug may have, we couldn't tell today, and it was literally today that the county finally showed up. But my point being, we have a storm drain issue that's going to be addressed. It's a county issue. It's within their system. And that's just delayed. The milling and paving probably will not be till the spring at this point of the Rochelle Avenue. And that is not the widening project. This is just the milling and paving that needs to be done. So kudos to Dave again and his team, because they were alerted by residents of this issue and never stopped following up. We believe today we found what is the problem. The county engineering is going to have to come out. I shared it today with James at Boswell, and I'm sure together we'll be able to figure out exactly what it is and take care of that.
Just to clarify, so Rochelle Avenue is going to be paved twice?
Yeah. So yes, when this came up about 2 years ago, we always received a letter about 2 years in advance. Then Committeewoman Boniface raised the same concerns. But this is just a milling and paving, and the updating of the handicap ramps has to be done because it's a NJDOT grant that they're receiving, so that you have to comply. That cost all was pretty much on the backs of the county, as is the milling and paving. But yeah, it's banged up Rochelle Avenue from Lots Lane to Passaic Street. So I don't foresee the widening project starting for at least, if it takes as long as Rochelle and Railroad, you're looking at 6 to 7 years, but hopefully not. But this will at least cover us until that point.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mayor?
Motion open up for questioning?
Second.
Yep, please come up.
All in favor?
Just because it's based on, I was going to ask later, but it's based on what you said. You said all those ADA ramp or whatever you called it completed on Rochelle?
All the ramps that we were required to complete as part of the project are completed, correct?
From Passaic Street to Central?
No, I believe to,
Lots Lane.
Lots
yeah.
Lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason they skipped Forest Place?
I can check into you. I can tell you that our design team walks it with the ADA expert from the county. Now, this was done about, I think, a year and a half ago. So I can check in to find out why Forest Place said it was, why
Yes.
that wasn't
And
done.
I'll tell you my specific, I happen to live in the street, but it's not for me. The only person who has been a lifelong resident of Rochelle Park who is blind
lives on that corner.
lives on that corner.
Yeah, James, obviously, maybe if I doubt it, but if it was missed and if it's,
Well, anything
Yeah.
else is done.
Yeah.
I can tell you a lot of times, with regards to the walkthroughs with the counties, if the paving does not extend into that ramp, they won't reconstruct it.
Well, they did
Or
the
if
street
the
before, the
paving-
street after it.
Okay.
So it kind of seems, if all the
Sure.
streets leading up to it and after it are done, where there is a long-time blind resident, that would be the most logical place to make sure it's done.
Sure, certainly. I would call the county AD expert tomorrow morning, and I'll find out for you, Forest Place.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
thank you.
Barbara Graziano, Peak Street. They finished the ramp on Peak Street. Of course, right now, it's flooded from the top of the sidewalk out to the middle of Rochelle Avenue, so you can't use it anyway. Why did they put in new ramps? And it floods, and so you can't cross the street.
So you're required to upgrade all the non-compliant curb ramps into the ADA compliance when you pave a road. That's a requirement. Not only is it DOT, it's a federal requirement.
But you can't, the requirement means that you have to be able to cross the street.
Mhm.
You can't cross that street. You want to go up there now?
If you tell me the intersection,
It's Peak Street, right?
Peak and, yeah, P-double-E-K.
okay.
It's flooded from the middle of Rochelle Avenue all the way up to my neighbor's property, covers the whole sidewalk. It's a waste of money.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a requirement
So-
of the paving.
You
And-
never
and-
go across my street.
And as far as the county road paving program, their paving project is for milling, resurfacing, and upgrading the handicap ramps. They don't really get involved with drainage issues, unfortunately.
So they upgrade them even if you can't use it. Okay.
It's
I
the
know.
county's,
I know.
it's the county's,
That it is.
project, so it's just in Township, so.
Anybody else with a question? Motion to close.
Thank you, Jim.
Public portion for this?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Discussion of tax exemption for veterans.
So Kathy, would you mind sharing a little bit about this, or I can do it as well? So basically, we want to continue to give veterans who are deserved based on our tax assessor's determination under the statute, the tax break they deserve. However, what we never had in our ordinance before was a non-look back. So we don't want somebody saying, well, I've been a veteran and had that status since 1968, now the town owes me this much money back. This will prevent that, but it will allow us to give them the well-deserved tax break going forward. So I have that right, Kathy?
Yes. So
Thank you.
The break will be from the day that the assessor grants the exemption. So we don't go back. If he got, or he or she got the 100% determination like 5 years ago and just handed it in, we can't go back 5 years and give them taxes back. It can hurt the town by, because it could be $50,000 at that.
And Kathy brought this to my attention as tax collector,
At the league, I
learned about it.
talking about it, so.
But most thing, date of filing, not date of the actual incident. the date
Correct.
you
So
file.
basically just going forward from that date of
From the
exemption.
date that, Jamie approves it, but it's when they're granted it. So we have somebody on actually tonight to approve us 100% exemption.
Thank you. More discussion on it? Move on to outside structures for restaurants.
James is here. You want to come up, James? So as we know, the night we became aware of the expiration of outdoor tents, or that we took a straw poll up on this dais, this committee unanimously said, hey, we don't want to allow those anymore. The very next day, Governor Murphy signed legislation that undid that. However, I wanted to have a discussion because there are ways that we can control it, and I'll allow James as our zoning official to explain that to you folks.
Good evening, everybody. So, you know, as Dean stated, they did permanently permit outdoor dining as a permitted use. So pretty much what that means is that they don't need a variance to do what they're doing for ever until something is changed. Currently in Rochelle Park, we only have one active business participating in the outdoor dining. You know, over the COVID timeframe, they developed a extravagant setting, but now that it's going to be permanent, there are several things within the original resolution that could be, tightened down on, since, it's essentially going to be permanent.
James, can you just bring the microphone closer to you, please? It's got to be pretty close.
So, over the past, I believe the Township Committee had approved during these executive orders to extend outdoor dining into the winter months, which is from December 1st to April 1st. Just to help out the businesses. So I think the committee needs to decide if they're going to go that route. I don't know if they're able to, because within the order it just talks about that April to November time frame. So if we're only going to do it during that time frame, there are restrictions that we could act upon during, the final application to be submitted for this type of use. The order's quite long, but some of those would be, we could be more restrictive on hours of operation and possibly days, if I read that correctly, that they could do the operation. We can limit types of entertainment that occur in the outside tents or whatever they do. The tents would be limited to 75% of the available parking If they don't own the property, they would
They
first
do
need
not.
permission from the owner of the property to even continue this use. The township could deny the application based on any prior incidents that may affect their liquor license,
UCC, fire code.
If the committee allows it to go into the winter months, then they would have to obtain a UCC permit where they have done in the past and only keep a tent that can handle snow load, wind load, and so forth.
And fire code as well, correct, Jane?
What?
That they have to meet the fire code as
Yeah,
well.
So the fire code is during the summer months. That would be covered under a permit issued by the township fire official, fire retardant, any type of electricity going into it has to be, properly installed. But I believe also we would be able to require them to come in for tenancy review, because we're not granting a variance, but pretty much a site plan overview, and have something pretty much in writing that we can hold, this business and possibly other businesses to. So I also called Senator Sarlo's office, who was the primary sponsor on the bill, to get clarification, because it's not written that great on those winter months, and his office stated that the intent of this was just to have them operate during those summer months.
And if I may, I also spoke with Darrell DeMott, our fire official, and he expressed some concerns that they may not be meeting the fire code. So obviously, we would have to consider that in the application process.
So what are you asking us to do? And are you asking us to say yes or no to the winter months? What is it we're looking at?
Well, it's,
So I wanted to bring this back before you because I didn't want you to say, hey, we said something last month and they're still there. So I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. The statute does trump our decision, but within this guidance. So I think we would have to,
So if I can make a suggestion,
Sure.
So what Dean is saying, what Jim is saying is correct. We can't do anything with regard to the law that the governor signed, so we're restricted by the law. However, it's general enough that you're able to put your own conditions and limitations on it. It may not be a bad idea for everyone to check and take a look at Governor Murphy's law. Maybe we can send it around to everybody, take a look at it, everybody can make some notes and kind of decide how you want to craft this going forward. Then you can advise my office, and I'll talk to Jim and Dean about putting in the conditions that you all feel are necessary and beneficial to the township. But that's probably a good place for everyone to start. Just take a look at what the governor has to say, and then we can work from there.
and the one business has expressed
interest.
great interest, obviously, year round. So it's more than just temporary. It's something that's, you might as well just build a structure out to the parking lot. So that's the way you kind of have to look at it. It's kind of split. The use is allowed, but how they do it is really
left to you.
Left to the committee, or if you want to transfer over to a tenancy review. I think it's up to
Jim, if I'm clear, the governor's, the order of the law that the governor signed is only until the 26th, right? November 26th?
Not certain.
I believe there was a time period, right, in the governor's order?
In what, the original extension?
No, the extension, the new one.
Oh, the extension only applies to the Division of Alcohol and Beverage Control.
Okay.
Because there's like 3 parts
Yep.
within it. So the liquor license deal and consumption license, I think that was originally 25 days out of the 26.
26.
The physical use of the outdoor dining within it
Has been
it's
extended
left
indefinitely.
Yeah, it's left wide
So
open.
we would be talking about an ordinance, conditions and restrictions with regard to that. So I think the best place for everybody to start is to take a look at the governor's order, and then kind of determine what you think is beneficial to the township, and then everyone can provide me with feedback along with Dean and Jim, and then we can kind of design
I
something.
have a question. So we're talking about this, but they don't own that property, so they still have
Correct.
to get permission from the
Correct.
owner. The owner could flat out say no. So
Yes.
we could have a whole conversation here and come up with this, and the owner of that
Can say no.
can say absolutely not, they don't want it. Or they want a permanent structure, which I'm sure they're not going to want there.
Yeah, and like I said, there needs to be an application submitted by them, which, we drafted one during COVID just based on, everyone was trying to help everybody during those times. Maybe we weren't as restrictive, but now this is
more.
for good.
But in this
So-
situation, is the applicant the owner of the property
No.
or the owner of the restaurant?
So,
One of the-
just like any zoning application, the applicant, if they don't own the property, they would have to get permission from the owner, an
That
affidavit
would be a
stating that
condition.
they're able to make that
Got it.
application.
That's a condition.
Based on that. But,
Do you know what percent of the parking lot they're currently using right now?
I would say it's a good quarter, but we would really have to pull the resolution, see what's dedicated to the physical, in this case, the hotel, they're required parking. The restaurants require parking, for how many tables they have inside, and then go from there. So there's going to be, a lot of research that needs to be done to, really button this down so, it's correct handicap spaces and, there's more health regulations. So there's so many different departments that have to interact with this application, and it's just being so rushed. Obviously, right now, they are, they would need to take it down because there's not an application. So, I will start that violation process, and then, they can continue to operate under penalty until, something, is drafted and,
Okay?
Thank you.
James, thank you. We'll see you in close. Thank you for another issue. Thank you.
Move on to administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I want to talk about, because James McGinnis touched upon it, and we were the recipient of some great news this past week, and it's in reference to the grant application for the new pump station. So we did receive the award, and I just want to give a little background and some timeline to it, because it's been going on for a long time. So the township applied for this grant dating back to December of 2020. That application was not accepted. The grant was applied for again in 2021, and subsequently it did not move on in the process, which happens, and it was denied. November 8th, 2022, fortunately, I was in the administrator's role for all but 6 weeks, and I was contacted by the State Police Office of Emergency Management advising that a revamping of our entire application was needed in order to bring it within the FEMA benefit cost analysis. They refer to it as the BCA, and that's pretty much their guideline for all these types of grant, for pretty much all of their grants and projects. While not having any direct knowledge of the previous grant submissions, since I was not in the role, or any of the materials, I was fortunate to pull together a team real quick, knowing that I would need all the help I could get. The biggest hurdle was this all had to be submitted by November 18th, so they gave us 10 days to get everything together. I reached out to Boswell, Captain Jimmy DePretta, Pete Donatello, Amory Wells, and we were assigned a representative of Rostan Associates by the New Jersey State Police by the name of Adam Ferguson. We were able to make several modification updates to the grant application in a very short amount of time. Once again, luck on my side. I was actually at my first League of Municipalities conference down in Atlantic City and working remotely with all of those people. But again, the teamwork was amazing. We had former administrator Bob Davidson, come and help as well. And, Captain DePretta sitting at the administrator's computer, accessing files from previous administrations while I'm trying to access it from my tablet. But we got it done. So several phone calls, phone conference calls, Zoom calls, etc. And a coordinated effort to get the application information in the correct format and meet FEMA's needs to have the timely submission. Only to be told in January of 2023 that the FEMA Go website, while it accepted the application and all of the materials, it deleted everything during a routine maintenance of their site. So we then had to go back in, re-enter all of the information with only 24 to 36 hours provided us to do that, without being able to review the materials previously entered directly into the FEMA Go site. And they have specific questions that you can't even save the information. But once again, the team of people I mentioned earlier were able to put their resources together, and we got everything organized and back into the system. Minor revisions and changes had to constantly be made as recently as January and June of this year, and we would get those changes from Boswell staff, namely Giselle Diaz and her team, and get them uploaded to the State Police Office of Emergency Management for submission within minutes. Anne Marie, our acting clerk, would have to get needed advertisement posted and done in a short amount of time and submitted to FEMA. And again, these deadlines, we would get a phone call and they're like, yeah, you were supposed to have that up by like noon today. I'm like, it's 8 a.m., right? But Amory was able to get it done and we were able to get it in. So while it was a painstaking and frustrating process, ultimately it appears as though it paid off. I know it has, because the township will be receiving the grant just over $1.9 million to help offset the cost of the long-time wanted and needed new sewer pump station. So again, thank you to everyone for their dedication and teamwork and help in that endeavor. More good news, received a grant today for our body armor, $2,110.92 is going to be put in our, and we've already received the funds for our 2024 state body armor replacement fund. That's something that we try to do yearly, so thank you to Roy Rigatano for his help. Excuse me. I do have some other items. So we talked a lot about Rochelle Avenue, the storm drain issues. I'm happy to say again, Dave, I know I saw you walk in, you always hide behind that post, but thank you for helping with that and staying on top of the county as you have. Elevation grant update, received some more good news in reference to that today. One of the homeowners, the home was sold. It's a home on Howard Avenue. I won't say the specific address, but the new owners do not want to participate at this time. That benefits the program greatly. We received notice today from the state police that that'll allow the remaining homes to beat the BCA, as I talked about. That benefit cost analysis, how FEMA dictates money. Now, with that one less home, it's going to bring the budget within the tolerance that it's needed. So we have a Zoom meeting scheduled for Monday, I believe, Anne-Marie?
Monday at
with all of the remaining homeowners and our professionals that we brought in. And James, make sure you're on that. And that's, I want to apologize to you because we've needed you more than, and I forgot to bring you along the way, but your expertise is needed. And lastly, Dave came to me and said, hey, every year the leaves don't seem to fall as early as they used to. As we all know, with droughts and warm conditions, they don't fall off. So we were able, again, I want to thank Roy and Kathy in finance, we were able to figure out budgetarily that we are able to add an additional leaf collection, and that'll be done on December 16th. So please get out there, make sure you get your leaves bagged and get them out on the curb, because that'll be the last collection. But we were able to add that leaf collection. And I think that's all I have at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Outstanding.
Thank you.
Committee's report. Teresa. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Middle School will be performing their holiday chorus concert tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Their next Board of Ed meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday, the 17th at 7:30. The seniors had their holiday party at Seasons last Thursday. I was able to attend, and it appeared to me that everyone had a great time at it. The only senior meeting this month is tomorrow at 1 p.m. And a couple of things on DPW. The street sweeper has been in service daily, cleaning the roads. They've been out planting new trees. Anyone interested in, please contact DPW. So far this year, they've planted 74 trees during the calendar year and had 31 trees removed during this calendar year. Cleaning municipal property. They were out decorating the gazebo, the tree, town hall. Great job. It looked beautiful. Thank you. Christmas trees. Live Christmas trees will be picked up weekly on Mondays. There can be nothing left on the tree, or it will not be picked up, and no plastic bags on the tree. 2 sewer call backups. They cleaned out the storm drains on Rochelle Ave and West Oldest. Had a handicap ramp brought up to code on Rochelle Avenue. Carlick Field has been groomed and impact tested. Houghton Hall interior has been freshly painted, the entire inside of it. I've seen the picture, it looks great. And there will be no electronics picked up this month. Electronics will resume January 22nd. I also want to wish everyone happy holidays, happy and healthy New Year, and we'll see you next year. Thank you, I have it.
Comment?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very short report from me tonight. In November, the court issued 388 traffic tickets and handled 10 criminal complaints, resulting in a total court revenue of $17,133 for the month of November. The library is hosting karaoke on Thursday, December 19th, starting at 6:30 p.m. in the Senior Center. And lastly, happy holidays, happy New Year, Rochelle Park. We will see you in 2025. Thank you.
Committee Woman O'Toole.
I attended the annual tree lighting on Friday evening. Thank you to all the volunteers who made this event possible. Special thanks to the Recreation Department, the Fire Department who transported our guest of honor from the North Pole, to the DPW who decorated the tree, the gazebo, and the grounds so beautifully, and to the police who ensured our safety. I was so curious about the iceless ice skating rink that I had to give it a try. The rink was made of plastic, and the blades of the ice could glide across. Although it was slower than real ice, and that's a good thing, it was very similar to skating on ice. Thanks for such a creative idea. The American Legion will have their autism breakfast on December 15th from 8 a.m. to noon. The cost is $8 per person, and children under 5 are free. There will be a special visit from Santa. All proceeds go to autism awareness. I have brought my nephew Luke and other members of my family to this event in years past, and I look forward to taking them again this year. The event is open to all. Some of this will be repetitive of what you spoke about, but the BRIC grant is great news. And so the BRIC grant for our sanitary pump station FEMA grant application has been approved. This is something that we have tried to accomplish for 4 years, and it is worth looking back on the work that led to the success. As Dean stated, the township first applied for this grant in 2020. It was not accepted. The grant was applied again for 2021, and it did not move on the process. In November of 2022, Mr. Pinto, who only had weeks into his new role as administrator, learned from the state police OEM that the application needed major revisions in order to bring it within the FEMA benefit cost analysis guidelines for these types of projects. He had only 10 days to submit this deadline. With the help of Boswell, Captain DePretta, Pete Donatello, and Anne-Marie Wells, and Adam Ferguson of Rostan Associates, New Jersey State Police OEM, we were able to make the several modifications and updates for the grant application. For some of these 10 days, we were away at League of Municipalities conference, so Captain DePretta was assisting by accessing files from previous administrations and relaying information. Our team needed to sort through, gather, and process the information for the application. The information and the supporting documents had to be submitted in the correct format that the website required, which was very cumbersome and frustrating process to navigate through. The relief of the successful submission was short-lived. 2 months later, in the January of 2023, the FEMA Go website took our application, all our updated materials, and deleted everything during a routine maintenance of their site. Our team had to go back and re-enter information with only about 24 hours to do so, and without being able to review the materials previously entered directly into the FEMA Go site. This year, in January and June, minor revisions had to be made. Giselle Diaz of Boswell and her team would get them uploaded to the state police OEM for submission within minutes. Anne-Marie would get the needed advertisement posted and done in a short amount of time and submitted to FEMA. Dean, Jimmy, Anne-Marie, Pete, I cannot thank you enough. I
Please
cannot
keep
thank
down.
you enough for the work you, along with our
Please, be
professionals.
removed if you don't keep it down. It's not public portion, please refrain.
Just wait.
I cannot thank you enough for the work that you have, along with our professionals, have done over the years for this. I specifically remember all that Jimmy had done while we were away at League of Municipalities. This was a very frustrating process for all, and I am grateful and so proud of your work that will help pay for our much-needed new sewer pump. Thank you. And then for our monthly police report. During the month of November, our team answered 1,550 calls for service. Even with this amount of call volume, our patrol division and detectives continue to demonstrate good proactive tactics in seeking our criminal activity before it impacts innocent people. The extra effort, dedication, and output is demonstrated by the 202 motor vehicle stops, 12 arrests, 16 criminal charges, and 517 summonses issued. During November, our members continue to be involved in the community with our Cops and Shops program, introducing 3 new businesses. Lieutenant Stapleton, our school resource officer, attended the parent-teacher conference at Midland School, and we are currently planning for our 2025 events. Our Detective Bureau is currently continuing several investigations with the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, including the investigation of a shooting of a vehicle that took place on Marion Avenue. Additionally, Detective Mercune responded to several barricaded subjects as part of his hostage negotiation duties on the regional SWAT team, while Police Officer Saldivia was also called out several times as an operator on the regional SWAT team. The department continued to expand the capabilities of our team with training in many facets of the job, which included our confidential assistant, Alba Nacco, and Lieutenant Kikowski attending an Open Public Records Act update, Detective Mercune attending a week-long interview and interrogation class. Lieutenant Kikowski also instructed the Basic Recruit Police Academy report writing class. Police Officer Lamas attended a non-lethal taser training, and Lieutenant Stapleton attended annual Terminal Agency Coordinator TAC Officer training, while Police Officer Saldivia completed the week-long regional SWAT operation team training. On the administrative side, at the time of this writing, we had narrowed down the search of police candidates and have selected police officer recruit Paul Hammersma, who was sworn in tonight, and we congratulate him and his family. And just to highlight some of
Please keep it down. That's the second time. One more time, I'm going to ask you to leave.
I'm not leaving.
We'll see. Keep it up.
Thank you. Just to highlight some of the numbers, we have 46 motor vehicle crashes, 76 emergency medical calls, and 20 fire department responses. So thank you to you and your team.
Deputy Mayor?
Good evening, everyone. Recreation held its town annual tree lighting event this past Friday, and it was a tremendous success with an incredibly positive turnout. Residents of all ages enjoyed various activities such as the ice skating rink, the mechanical reindeer, the food trucks, and of course the visit from Santa himself, and the residents helped light our community tree. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone who assisted in making this event possible. Our dedicated recreation department volunteers, the fire department, DPW, police department, Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, and our generous sponsors, Big Pack Hobby Shop and Wrigley Busy Bee Pest Control. Looking ahead, their third annual trolley ride event will take place this Sunday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., proudly co-sponsored by the Access for All Committee. This event was booked up within hours, and they eagerly are anticipating a festive evening filled with caroling, hot cocoa, donuts, and plenty of community fun. Also this Sunday evening, they'll be hosting their decorating house contest with results to be announced by the Recreation Department on Monday evening, and good luck to all our participants. The Letters to Santa closed yesterday, and 82 children in town will be receiving personalized letters and special gifts from Santa and his elves. Basketball season has officially started with a fantastic turnout for both the youth and adult basketball programs. The children are thoroughly enjoying the new gym at Midland School, and the Adult Basketball League has seen excellent participation as well. As we look ahead to 2025, the Recreation Department is excited for many events that will be hosted and co-hosted with the Access for All Committee. Please stay tuned for to their social media pages and the town website for updates on upcoming events. They are always in need of volunteers for these various events, and Recreation has put a Google sign-up document online for anyone interested in helping with specific events. And I'd like to just wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Rochelle Park Fire Department responded to 31 calls in November. Members logged a grand total of 180 hours in a month of November. November 7, 2024, FD was dispatched to Midland School Field to establish a helicopter landing zone for an incoming medevac. A unified command was established with PD Sergeant E1 and FR1 were assigned to clear the field. The landing area was all clear of debris. FD stood by for the medevac landing and takeoff without further incident. November 10, 2024, FD was deployed as an airstrike to Team West Wildwood to provide assistance on an ongoing wildfire. On the 25th, was dispatched to Lodi for a working fire. Rochelle Park Fire Department helped with search and accountability. E1 crews searched the second floor and started ventilation and overhaul. Permits issued 36, UCC inspections 89, total value of construction $902,000 and $995. Permit fees collected $25,700. UCC penalties $1,250. Permit fits waived $875. Zoning permits $960. Zoning applications 12. Zoning violations 6. Continuous certificate occupancy $1,275. Standalone inspection 10, property maintenance violations were 8, complaints were 87, CCO inspections 11, total fees collected $29,185, year-to-date $388,126. Attorney's report?
Nothing from me, Mayor. Actually, something closed.
Thank you. This time, I ask for a motion to open up a public portion. All items, please limit to 3 minutes. Motion. Take it a second. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. This time, we'll open up a public portion.
Linda Boniface, 33 Parkway. In all the years, Gail, first of all, you two can switch your names because you're screwed up. In all the years that Bob Davidson was on this, as the administrator, you so disrespected him so bad, it's not funny. When he asked you, there was a change, if he could stay and help the new administrator, you told him, no, you didn't need it. Then you begged him to stay. Show Mr. Davidson a little respect. Okay, I hope this one meeting a month doesn't ends this month. This is not the school board, no one meeting a month. Who went to the League of Municipalities on the taxpayers? Anybody else?
But I ended up paying with one.
I'll put the flag out tomorrow for you. Did anybody go? I'm just asking.
Any other questions, or is that?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Well, get all your questions, because your time is limited.
Yeah, I know. And so is yours.
Thank you.
Did anybody go to the seminar on affordable housing? Anybody up here? They had a seminar on the affordable housing changes. Nobody went? What seminars did you attend?
Are you asking me, Linda?
I'm fine with you,
Okay.
Chief.
I'm sorry.
I just want to know, this is a thing that's coming, and it's a thing that is in every development here. I think you should have attended it. If you were on Rochelle Park's dime, you should have attended it. Why I'm here? Northwest Financial. Northwest Financial was hired before the resolution to hire them was passed here. And my understanding was, has always been, that the developer pays that amount of money. Yet, there's $7,500 coming out of the general funds of the town being paid to Northwest Financial. Then, that's on November 1st. Then on November 15th, a check was issued for $5,337.50 out of a escrow account. See, anybody on the bills list, the 13 is an escrow account. So can we get that explained here? So the taxpayer is going to have to pay for somebody that's a developer and wants to develop.
If I may, Mayor?
If you choose to.
So, Ms. Boniface, what we didn't want to do is have somebody, the developer had no obligation for us to do our study, right? And it was us doing our due diligence to make sure we had somebody who represented the township and not had a developer's interest, had the township's interest. Thus, we had to pay for the study from Northwest. And Mr. Doyle's behind us, and Doug, if I'm getting any of this out of order, you can let me know. The second payment does come out of escrow because at that point, it's for a different study for somebody who already had an application.
But my understanding, even when Mr. Beneke was here, it was paid by the developer.
There is no development.
It's the owner of the property. So these taxpayers are all screwed.
No, they're not screwed.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
getting independent advice from a professional as to whether we should think about having an area declared an area in need of redevelopment, which is what we're talking about. We're talking about the Ramada Inn. It's not a secret. And whether that makes sense, and whether we should go down that road, and whether we should invest.
The same thing was done with 120.
I can't speak.
Beneke paid the, 120 paid the bill for Beneke.
Was he already a designated developer?
Yeah.
We don't have a designated area. We don't have a designated redevelopment. We don't have a redevelopment. We don't have anything. So before we go forward and do that, we don't.
Anybody else from the public?
So we got screwed.
Diana Hassel, Forest Place. I have a question about landscapers in town. I was told that we do not have them register with the town. Is that correct? That we don't have a list of registered
So
with the town?
yeah, that is my understanding. We haven't had one in years because they're required to register with the state.
Yes, but many towns do have them registered. You see where I'm going with
Yeah,
it?
and if I may, so, and yes, I recall as a younger patrolman or middle career of patrolman, that ordinance getting enacted and Ginny DeMaria handing us a list, and that was, I want to say at least 20 years ago, and then it seemed to have stopped.
Well, I see two benefits to it. First of all, yes, I know they have to register with the state, but if they don't register with the town, then you don't know if they're registered with the state. They have to get permits, there's certain requirements, and if we don't know if blank landscapers is registered with us, then we don't know whether they have the paperwork or not. You are losing money. Towns that have them registered, they pay to be registered. It may be a small amount per landscaper, but it's money we're losing. And we have ordinances on the book that apply to landscapers. What days they can and can't work, what times they have to start. They can't put out the refuse from their landscaping business if they live in town, in front of their house, etc. Many other ordinances. If they don't register with us, how do they know what our ordinances are? They'll say, oh yeah, we know them, but they just ignore it. So I think that's something to think about in the future. Many area towns have this list. So, I mean, you can talk to many area towns. Every time I drive through Paramus, there's a big sign in electronic, landscapers, make sure you're registered with the town. So I know they are, just because I see it on the electronic board. Is there a reason we don't have it?
So if I may, committee, under section 123-2, it's proof of state registration required. This comes out of the Township Code, our code book. It was enacted in August 16th of 2006. It says landscapers as defined herein, which I won't waste, must provide the clerk with proof of registration with the state of New Jersey pursuant to the Contractors Registration Act in the event that any landscaper or landscaping company is not required to register, etc. So there is something on the books that requires them to do so, and I think the attorney can help. I mean, you know, I'm sure that ordinance was advertised in the proper way, was published, and, you know, we can always forward to code enforcement, say, hey, you know, when these landscapers are out there, go check that if they register with the town, and I think we can, you know, start doing that going forward.
Official registration.
But we do, it's required, so it's a matter of them.
I asked if we have a list of registered landscapers, I was told no.
Because again, that was enacted in '06, and I'm sure again, and that there's my 20 years ago, it's pretty close, it was 18 years ago.
Three that drive on my block. I'm not saying they're good or bad, but there's a typical buy the next sign, slap it on your door, and do whatever.
Yeah, it's entirely up to the Township Committee if they decide they want to proceed with something like that. We could review the ordinances, we could amend them and update them, and then obviously there would have to be some sort of acclimation period after the ordinance is introduced and then ultimately passed. You'd want to provide enough notice to landscapers to give them an opportunity to register, and then you'd be able to enforce it thereafter, depending upon how you wish to proceed with the ordinance.
Is there a negative thing to doing it? Besides that, okay, you tell them like March or whatever, you have to register and.
And again, I haven't researched the issue. This is the first issue that I've come into contact with regard to registering landscapers. I do know other municipalities do it. You know, I'd have to look into it if the Township Committee would want me to, and then depending upon the design of the ordinance would determine how it's enforced. I mean, you know, in terms of a negative, I don't know.
I don't see any negatives unless you know of one that there is.
It's up to the Township Committee.
One thing that I'm interested in knowing more about is, you know, that ordinance was written in 2006. There's applications like Thumbtack out there where you can get a landscaper to come to your house in an hour. So I wonder how other towns have updated their ordinances to reflect that. There's TaskRabbit, there's Angie's Lists. You know, they'll show up within 24 hours, and maybe it'll be just a one-time service. So I am curious to know.
And to Committeeman Miller's point, though, would these services actually prove helpful? And I know we have a couple of homes where, you know, the former owners are deceased, and this is within the last couple of months. The only family members out in Las Vegas, and, you know, hiring a landscaper to take care of it. And for us to recommend a landscaper that'll be on our list, I don't think would be appropriate either. But you know, with all these services out there, I think, and what you mentioned earlier, Mrs. Rassel, is you're absolutely right. There's other issues that we can enforce if they put too many bags on the corner, if they're right, if they leave those. Correct. So we can enforce that and still hold the landscapers accountable to what we really want. I think, again, it's this, I don't vote, and it's this committee's, within your purview as the voting body, if you want to enact that ordinance. I think the difficulty is, how are we going to know if we got every landscaper? At some point, they come and they go within 15, 20 minutes. To Mr. Miller's point, somebody can hire them, they hit that house, and they're gone before we even know. But again, it's worthy of this committee looking into.
I understand that you're talking about residential. Can you hear me? This is new. Okay. I understand that you're talking about residential, but I'm also worried about any commercial property too, because I do see that quite a bit where they're blowing the stuff in the street.
100%.
Right? I'm sorry? I've seen it quite a bit, and it's not just residential. I'm going to be honest with you, I've probably seen more commercial doing that than, and that's my opinion, than residential. I understand what you're saying about that, and I think it's a great ordinance we need to look into and see if something, but it needs to be both. If not, that's what I'd like to see,
I mean, even, I'm up early in the morning, but I know sometimes, like Sunday morning, there's been landscapers that are there at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody who's working late and they don't want to be woken up at 6:30, we do have to thing on the book one time it's supposed to. I'm not saying someone has to, I know we say that, but I'm not gonna, I'm up anyway.
Well, please, and again, I'm sorry to interrupt you, if I may, Mayor. Please call the police department. We had a resident the other day call me, and on my cell phone, and I tell anybody, call me 24/7. Their neighbor's dog is constantly barking. Within 20 minutes, an officer went to that home with the barking dog, and I got a thank you email from the resident saying, whatever you did, the dog hasn't been out in 2 days. My wife and I want to thank you. My point being, the police department's here to help go and find those landscapers, or if you can't be. But no, I wish you would. But you call us, we'll send an officer. We absolutely enforce the code, and that's what I was saying. This ordinance that requires registration also has all those other things. The work hours, like you mentioned, not leaving stuff on the curb. The police department, if not enforce it, because some parts of the code we can't, we can forward it to code enforcement, and he, based on our report, will issue a notice of violation and/or a summons.
What I'm saying is, if a landscaper isn't registered, they can claim they didn't even know. If they're registered, but different towns have different ordinances.
But and again, that's why I asked the attorney what I asked is, when we publish our ordinances, we're required to publish them twice for so many days. Our municipal court judge will find that that's notice, right? You're not born knowing you shouldn't hit somebody, right? And there's no law posted, do not hit people, but we learn, right? And, not every obscure law is known to people, but when we arrest them, they're going to be told, no, but my point being, again, even summonses, there's some obscure motor vehicle summonses you may never be aware of. That's too bad. When you took your driver's license, you're supposed to know that. When you operate in Rochelle Park and, conduct your business, you should know. You should look up the ordinance. We are having an issue with a commercial establishment removing a lot of trees. Their claim is, well, we didn't know of your new ordinance. Unfortunately, I think they did the work, Dave can correct me, within 5 days of the new ordinance being valid, being published. Too bad for them. How many days, Dave?
It wasn't that close. It was probably a month.
Okay, so again, these things happen. But to your point, and to Mark's point, we take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Walter Allen, West Alder Street. First of all, I want to commend whoever for the new sound system. It works well. Kind of funky hearing myself talk. Anyway, Access for All had a couple of events. On November 23rd, from 11 to 1, we had a tie-dye with the library. Ms. Lisa Hoffman, the director of the library, came, tie-dye with the children. They played games, had some fun. It was a nice outing. We also attended the tree lighting. I want to thank Deputy Clerk for assisting with that, getting everything out for us. And on Sunday, the autism breakfast, would like to recommend that everybody go and sponsor that, close to home. And I shared a notice with the administrator from the Bergen County Parks. They want to put up a ADA compliant playground in Westwood. And I'm all for that. The only problem is Westwood is north. We're south. So I spoke to the administrator and I told him I'm going to do my part to see what we can do about getting a ADA compliant park, if not in the Shadowbrook region, here in Rochelle Park.
There's one in North Toronto, Pelham too.
Oh, okay, well, like
They run that out of Pelham.
I said, I just got the email, so I'm forwarding it to everybody so they can fill out the survey and get the ball rolling. Also, if anybody in town has a disability and needs some type of assistance, please reach out to us. I'd love to help. My committee would love to help. And we also are looking for volunteers. So if you can come out and give a little help, we greatly appreciate it. I'm happy and healthy holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick, Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk, but Walter, you should pat yourself on the back because your mom and yourself constantly yelling to me, "We can't hear you." Every meeting spurred me to push this committee, this elected body, to approve the capital improvement monies to enhance the sound system. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Dean. Anybody else from public portion? You get a motion to close public portion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. Ordinance introduction, an ordinance to amend Chapter 185 of the Code of the Township of Rochelle entitled Land Use and Development Regulation. May I ask for motion to introduce by title for the first reading?
Okay.
Oh, I'll do it now. 1213-24, an ordinance to amend Chapter 185 of the Code of the Township of Rochelle Park, Land Use Development Regulation by way of Resolution Number 24-19.
210.
Oh, 2 times. And be published in full in the Bergen Record with notice of public hearing to be held on January 4, 2025. Could I ask for a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Committeewoman Ortola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Crivello?
Yes.
Committeeman Miller?
Yes.
And Mayor Bassetti.
Yes. May I ask for a motion to open the public hearing of ordinance number 1212-24, an ordinance to amend Chapter 36 of the Code of the Township of Rochelle Park entitled Recreation Committee. Ask for a motion?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Ortola?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Crivello?
Yes.
Committeeman Miller?
Yes.
And Mayor Bassetti.
Yes.
We're opening it up to the public, if anybody from the public.
Make a motion to open to the...
That's what we just did.
Oh, yeah.
We just made the
That's what I'm
motion to
saying.
open
Yeah,
the
no
public.
From the public.
So you're
Nobody-
asking if anyone,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And then you can make a motion to close and adopt.
All right. Nobody from the public's coming up? Ask for a motion to close?
Close and adopt. I'll say yes, I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
And then you can do a motion to adopt. So it's a motion to close right now.
Okay. I made the motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now a motion to adopt.
May I ask for a motion to close the public hearing on the ordinance and that it be adopted with the notice of final passage to the public and the Bergen Record?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Ortola?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Crivello?
Yes.
Committeeman Miller?
Yes.
And Mayor Bassetti.
Yes. All items listed below are considered to be routine, non-controversial by the Township Committee and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a committee member or citizen so requests, in which case item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda as part of the general orders. Resolution number 024-211 through 213, ordinance number 024-215, 216, 217, 218, 219, 220, 221, 222.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
You?
Deputy Mayor Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Ortola?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Crivello?
Yes.
Committeeman Miller?
Yes.
And Mayor Bassetti.
Yes. And now your motion to close.
Yep, we have to go into close.
This time I'm going to ask for a motion to go to closed session. Matters pertaining to litigation, attorney-client.
For the public's benefit, there will be no formal action taken after closed session tonight.
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody hangs around. After that, it will be adjourned after the closed session. Next meeting will be Sunday, January 4th, 2025 at 11:30 a.m.
Yeah. I don't know, I didn't know.